everybody, and welcome back to Feedback Loop. I'm Joey,
And I'm Jeremy.
and this week we're on, I guess, stop number 3 of
Yeah,
4 on my little journey through the Elephant Six with
75%.
75%. Yeah, that's a C. I'd be happy with that, but I'm not stopping. We're not stopping till we hit 100. Not
Yeah,
stopping.
can't
But
stop, won't stop.
yeah, but for now we're on 75. This album is the the guy. I don't know. He's a band. He
He,
started out. It was just him, I think.
okay,
His name's Kevin Barnes. I mean, I know he has other people that play instruments with him, but I think like originally it was just his brainchild. It's called Of Montreal, and the album is Cherry Peel. I believe it was his first like official release.
okay.
I think I'm not 100% sure. Some of the discography kind of like loses me in this stuff because I in case you all don't know, I listen through Spotify, and sometimes Spotify is pretty wonky, and then I don't feel like doing my research on the internet or anything, so I just kind of make
Yeah, we
educated
don't we don't
guesses.
need to do any sort of research for the show.
You
We
know,
should, perhaps, but we don't.
no, I do research. I do, I do some research, but also I think there's merit in just listening and going in like that.
Yeah,
Sure, context is all nice and dandy, but sometimes you just got to judge the music by the music, man.
yeah. I mean, 90% of the time when you hear something new, you're not going to know the context anyway.
That's very true.
And we're all about discovering music that we haven't heard, so
Yeah, but the
it's not
problem
needed.
here is that I recommended this album, so
I mean, that doesn't mean you have to know everything about it.
that's true.
You
And
knew it's
this,
Kevin Barnes, which is
yeah,
already more than I knew.
yeah, and I mean, really, if we're being completely honest, like of Montreal, like while I do like his music, he's not like he's not in my top 3 of Elephant Six bands.
Okay, but he
So
is in the top three of this journey.
yes, exactly.
Why this album on this journey? Is there any specific reason?
This album, it kind of bleeds into the next album that we're going to be listening to, which I'm not going to spoil it. I'm still going to wait till the
You
end.
gotta
So I'm
you gotta stick around,
yeah,
boys
the
and girls.
guy, the kind of vocalist, guitar player, guy who writes lyrics for the band coming next week. I know they worked together around the time that this album came out. Some of the vocal stylings, not necessarily his voice, but the way he writes lyrics and some melodies kind of remind me of the band from next week. So I feel like with Beulah being kind of the musical equivalent or me getting you ready musically for the last band, this would be like lyric wise, maybe a little bit vocal wise, getting you ready for next week.
Okay, so next week theoretically is a mishmash of the two previous albums.
Yes, so kind of like the music, so what I feel to be a better version of the music from last week and a better version of kind of the vocals from this week.
Okay, okay. And I think you mentioned last week that it's the finale album is very close to you, or you have very strong feelings about it.
I have
I believe you
extremely
compared it
strong.
to my love for Paramore, which
That might have been too much, but it might not have been. I don't know. Only time will tell. But I really, really, really love the album that we're listening to next week. Um,
okay.
there's going to be no pretense about it. I just very much enjoy that album.
I can't wait to just disappoint you when I don't love
I can't wait to disappoint you when you don't love it.
it. But this week we are not talking about that album yet.
No.
We will. You gotta hang in there till the end for that one. But we're talking about Cherry Peel by Of Montreal. The album art of this is it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a drawing of a giant cherry sitting on a green hillside with some like nice blue sky and some clouds, and there's a
Oh yeah.
plane, like a biplane, like a stunt plane kind of thing,
Yeah.
flying by with a banner that says "Of Montreal, Cherry Peel." Pretty simple.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of James and the Giant Peach, but it's
Yeah,
cherry.
I also got that vibe. It's like Kevin and the giant cherry.
maybe
The weird off-brand James and the Giant Peach.
maybe there's some like reference in there that I haven't gotten yet, and that actually is supposed to be what it is. Wouldn't that be some shit right there?
That would be, but I also did not grab any of that from the lyrics or anything, so it's gonna remain a mystery. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, but that's fine. Mysteries are fun sometimes.
Yeah, you know what a really fun mystery is?
The disappearance of everything.
Yeah, we're starting off strong, man. Track number one on this album is "Everything Disappears When You Come Around."
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on this because
Of
I
course.
all week I was just kind of like, what I have some inklings on how you might feel about this album.
Well, it, I'm gonna say this album is very adventurous. I think in my mind, so
Hmm.
how I feel about a song is not necessarily reflective of how I feel about the album.
Yeah, that's a
With
good
that
point.
being said, this song I think it's pretty simple musically. I mean, it's kind of following up. I felt like it was a good follow up from the last week of Beulah and the week before that when we talked about the apples in stereo, where it's the music itself isn't super complex or super innovative per se, but I really like the tone of the guitar and the bass. The drums in this song specifically are like really mixed out, so
Yeah,
it's kind of like hard to hear them, which is a little bit disappointing. But I don't know, I like it. It's got some more oohs and ahs and stuff, kind of that '60s rock feel kind of a thing to it.
yeah. That is kind of a theme that's just I kind of goes in a lot of the music in this style, and
Yeah,
it is like extremely simple. And I mean, just a heads up for everybody who is listening to this and hasn't listened to the album. Like Jeremy said, the drums are mixed out on this track. There's a lot of tracks that just don't have drums. There's a lot of tracks where it's really mixed out. So drums are not heavy. That was another thing that whenever I was listening to the album again, like I was just like, Jeremy might not like that. But
yeah. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't like demand drums and everything. I just thought it was interesting that they were included, but it was kind of hard to hear.
yeah, yeah,
I'm assuming the other big point of nerves in you and how I react to this album is the dude's voice.
yes,
He has a very interesting voice. It's
hmm,
weird, but it's not weird in a bad way. I don't
yeah,
think. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about it,
yeah,
but at least in this song, it was kind of like an intro. It wasn't super off-putting, so I don't know if I'm slowly being converted to kind of accept this kind of vocal styling or not. But yeah, I think it suits the music. He has a lot of nice melodies, which I think kind of complement it.
yeah,
So even if I don't enjoy his voice or I don't think he has a great singing voice, he has a lot of good melodies. And some of the tracks on this album, this one included, there are snippets of melodies that, for whatever reason, make me think of like Jonathan Colton and kind of some of his melodies and stuff,
yeah,
which it isn't I guess it's a fairly niche artist to pull out. But then
hey,
again, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably into pretty niche music. So check out Jonathan Colton. He's a
yeah.
comedian
Eh, He is a musician and a
and a
comedian.
comedian. Yeah,
I
he
don't.
makes
I like
some
Jonathan
very funny
Colton.
songs.
I never thought to make that comparison, but it totally does work. Like this guy, Kevin, I'm just gonna call him by name, not like I know him personally, but
Sure.
the way he writes music, it kind of feels like you might know him personally. Like he's one of those type of people. But
Yeah.
he has a pretty, I guess, nasally is a word that you could use to describe it. Voice
Yeah,
at
I
times,
guess. I didn't think to call it nasally
not
because
nasally in a
I
bad
feel
way.
like
Like
I feel like there's a lot of like clearly more nasally singers that I
that's
don't enjoy.
that's true. I feel like I don't know. Like you said it best. I don't know why I'm trying to act like I'm going to add anything to your description of his voice, but it is just a unique voice. I like it. I like that he's not afraid to kind of. You don't hear it so much in this song, but he's not afraid to kind of go a little off key if he feels like
Yeah.
it warrants it in the music,
Right.
which is
We will
something.
definitely touch on later in the album.
Well, then
But
I guess I'll leave that for later then. But yeah,
yeah,
lyric wise, this song is. I mean, what you see is what you get with the title. Like, it's really straightforward. He, like, I don't know. This is something that I like, and kind of what I was talking about with the lyrical content as to why I suggested this album. It's like he starts with a simple kind of premise. Everything disappears when you come around. Like, it's just typical way of saying, like, "Oh, you're the only thing I see. Whenever you come around, I don't think about anything else." But he describes it in such a way that he's talking about his ears disappearing, everything else vanishes, everything evaporates, and then they're talking about the disappearances of things on the news that night. He's
Yeah,
like, he takes it literally, and that's just like, most are shocked, some don't care, like, talking about, it's just typical newsworthy stuff. But
yeah, he uses some very like weird metaphors. He takes that like all I see is you kind of thing and runs with it so extreme that like at some point he mentions that birds are losing their heads.
yeah,
They're just like fucking flying around without heads, I guess. But it makes me wonder if he was just trying to be abstract in how he feels in a loving way about someone, which it was kind of the first impression, or if he's actually insulting this person, kind of saying that like this person's a black hole,
yeah,
and they kind of like suck in and ruin a lot of my life. Probably a love song, but there's an alternate context because like all of the weird comparisons he's making just kind of made me think, well, maybe she or he is just ruining this man's life, and he's
yeah.
like my whole world's falling apart because of you.
I think you're onto something because of how he approaches topics in other songs on this album that I'll kind of get to. There seems to be a pretty clear, most things have two meanings, or like there's a dichotomy
Right.
in later songs. So I think you're onto something there. I didn't quite pick up on it. I don't know how I didn't, because a few of the last lines are, everything else disappears, my eyes disappear, the sunlight swims away when you come around, and
Yeah.
even darkness won't stay. Like, it seems like that completely makes sense. I like where you're going.
Cool. Well, if you didn't like where I was going, I wasn't gonna cry about it.
Well, if you did, you'd be a little baby.
I don't know, baby. I don't know. Track number 2, ladies and gentlemen, baby.
Baby. See, I like, okay, I like his voice in this song more than I like it in the first one. It's, I don't know. This song gives me, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. I have stuff written down, but I just keep thinking about it. Like, it's playing in my head, but I get a Beach Boys vibe to it. I know we say that a lot, but
Yeah,
it's
I
got,
mean this whole journey has been like very like Beach Boys and like Brit rock kind of
yeah,
blended together. It's very
yeah,
heavily inspired by them.
definitely. And I don't know. This, he doesn't, I don't know. You're going to hear me say a lot of, there's not a lot going on musically. Like, it's
Yeah,
kind of simple, kind of just, but I mean, there's a cool guitar line in the background of the chorus, and there's one part I can't exactly remember if it's in the chorus or right before the chorus, but the way that he sings, he kind of doesn't really keep to a rhythm at
right.
certain points, but I just like the offbeatness of his voice, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that gets exasperated a little bit towards the end of the album, where it's a lot more common for him to have very like arrhythmic rhythms, if
Yeah,
that makes sense. Just
yeah,
abstract, kind of off the beat, just kind of talking or singing in a way that many would probably consider not good. But I'm into it honestly.
well,
Like
that's good. That's good.
I think it works. There's again some more humming in this
Hmm.
one. I feel like his vocals in this track specifically were a bit more washed out, given kind of
Yeah,
like a lo-fi vibe. But lyrically, I think at this point I was like, maybe I was right about the last track kind of having the love and also maybe hate relationship thing, where this one seems to be about him being in love with someone who doesn't feel the same way,
hmm.
and he knows that it's not going to work out, but he still kind of has these feelings.
I like this song because, I mean, I'm gonna say it once again. Like, this is kind of the lyrical stuff that I like this album for. I haven't. I'll be completely honest. I haven't listened to much of his other stuff
Hmm.
because, as kind of like the Apples in Stereo, as he progressed, he moved towards a sound that I'm sure is what he wanted. I'm sure that's what he envisioned. It's just it kind of gets more produced and more. I hate to say it, but kind of more well thought out almost. Like
Yeah.
he, not to say that this isn't well thought out, but like you can tell there's a lot more going into his later albums than this one.
Right.
And
Yeah. It's. I was gonna kind of comment on this later in the album. There's one song specifically that I felt this way, but since you're bringing it up, I feel like a lot of that arrhythmic kind of chasing. Whoa, my computer just went to sleep. Give me 1 second. Okay. Anyways, a lot of the like offbeat kind of singing and the way he forms his lyrics, it sounds like it's almost like improvised or freestyled.
yeah,
But
like
there's in a lot of tracks there's still like a decent amount of production on it, so I'm sure he had a couple takes on it. But a lot of it kind of just feels like he's just kind of flowing.
yeah, and like I personally like this more than the more produced stuff. There's like even Apples in Stereo, as near and dear as that New Magnetic Wonder album is to my heart. I tend to, I guess, like a lot of the earlier stuff
Hmm.
more for. I mean, for different reasons. It's like to me, it's like comparing apples and oranges, but
Or apples and cherry
or,
peels,
or cherry peels and grape skins.
grape skins.
But anyway, I'm getting way too off track about this. Lyrically, what I was gonna say is that I really like the lyrical, like what he does here, where he takes. I think it's kind of a mature take on infatuation, like you said, like the love hate kind of theme from the last song. He's talking about being just infatuated with somebody. Like it sounds like he has a crush on somebody. Like he's
Yeah.
talking about channeling all of his loving energy to, and he's glad to have this person, and he knows the feelings aren't going to be returned. And just the line, "And in time, I won't think about you this way," but
Right.
like it's just such a nice. I mean, it's like if you had a high school crush in your late 20s, where you're like, I've been through this before. I know what's going to happen. I feel a bunch of types of ways right now, but I know it's probably not going to last forever. But I enjoy the feeling now, but I know you don't like me like that. So I mean, whatever, it'll eventually go away.
Yeah, in the song, the line that stood out to me, he says, "Minutes can make memories that last a lifetime. I distort my minutes of beauty into something that they're not," which kind of alludes to something that I believe comes up a couple times later in the album, where he's trying to make something work in his mind that he knows
Hmm.
isn't actually going to work. He's kind of like convincing himself or lying to himself about what's actually going on, but at the same time, he knows what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, he even like I like that too because that's I don't know that's the nice thought that I like to hear in music. I mean, he even says something about it earlier in this song. Uh, there's no way that you're the person I imagine you to be. Like
Right.
realizing that you're building up these not real things in your mind. Like you're building up expectations for a person or an idea of a person, and it's like there's no way you're actually that person, but that's who you are in my mind, or that's how this time is in my mind. That's how these memories are going to be.
Yeah, well, I can't stop his memories. I can't stop your memories.
I,
Track number three.
I can't stop your memory. Boom, bam, three in the bag. Got him.
These track titles are a whole lot easier to segue into than last week's.
Well, it's. I feel like a lot of them are just like they're easily titled
Yeah, they're
songs.
simple thoughts.
Yeah, and it's good. It's way better than what was it? Emma Blowgun's last name.
Right. Which, admittedly, I still feel like that was one of the simpler song titles on that
it,
album.
it
But
was, but it tripped me up, man. I've never met a lady named Emma Blowgun.
it's true. But I can't stop your memory. It's again musically, like you said, a lot of this we're just gonna be like, there's not a whole lot going on. It's pretty
Yeah,
simple. It's not simple in a bad way. I think I said the same thing about the Apples in Stereo or
yeah,
at the Beulah thing, where it's good. It's not like they're making bad music. It just there's not a lot of like standout stuff on it
yeah.
musically.
Although this song, it like I don't know. There's a tempo change, kind of. It starts off in
Yeah,
almost like a halftime feel, and then it goes to like a weird circus
yeah.
shanty type
It's
thing.
very carnival-y.
Yeah, and I mean it's not like a long thing. It doesn't happen for a long time, but it's just a
Yeah, they're
little,
just like little bridge sections to kind of
yeah,
connect other pieces. But
kind
yeah,
of like other
I noted
albums
that.
in this.
Indeed. Are you alluding to something? Is the next album all just bridge
Yep,
sections?
it's all bridge, no vocals. There's only 10 seconds of anything at a time. It's
Oh
just
man,
crazy.
it's that fucking Hell album all
Oh
over
my
again.
god. Zach Hill makes an appearance.
Lyrically, this one I can't stop remembering is a song about heartbreak. It
Hmm.
seems
Yeah,
he's kind of like reflecting on memories of someone when he's like all alone at night, and he uses a lot of like demonic imagery and stuff. So I think it's to kind of express that he feels like he's literally in hell,
yeah,
and he doesn't really blame his partner, and he kind of saw this was coming, as we kind of talked about in the last track, but it still kind of sinks in that he's alone now, and it kind of hurts him.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's just nice to hear how relatable kind of this stuff is. I don't know. There's something to me like this song was written. It was released 23 years ago. Probably written like 25 or something, but like devils were laughing so loud I couldn't hear the radio. Like whenever your head just won't shut up about
Yeah,
something to where you can't take in outward stimulus, and it's just I don't know. It's pretty relatable.
I
Like
mean,
it,
especially I would imagine I don't know this guy, but back in the '90s, I would assume a pastime of his was just listening to the radio. So it's
mhm.
kind of that like depression layer of like not even being able to enjoy the things that you normally enjoy
Yeah,
because there's just
definitely.
so much going on in your mind.
Yeah, and like I don't know, just like the title says, I can't stop your memory, and that's just something that usually whenever stuff sucks, you can kind of just stop doing it, but you can't stop yourself from remembering something. You can't stop yourself from thinking about things really. I mean, I guess you can, but it doesn't usually work that way. I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't. I can't most of the time.
you just need a lot of alcohol or other substances.
Yeah, there you go. Just black out. And then even if you do think about it, you won't remember it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
pro tip for the day.
Joey's encouraging alcoholism.
Oh my god.
Joey,
Please.
don't promote alcoholism because
Yeah.
these people out there listening, they need us. I love them. They are loved by us.
Yeah. And when you're loved like you are, we don't want you to be alcoholics.
Exactly. Track number 4, still killing it. When you're loved like you are. This is going to be the best album for us to segue through. I think
are
we're
we
going to do one every single track.
are we gonna do okay, yep, that's the goal. That's the goal.
We got to keep doing it. This one, it sounds almost like it was recorded in like one take, and it was all
Yep.
like live, and there was no like mixing or mastering applied to it, which is fun. That's not an insult,
Yeah.
but it just sounds like some people like playing together in a room and getting it recorded, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. And I I was gonna say this at a later song, but this one I think with you bringing that up is a good kind of other segue into what I was gonna say. But I don't know how much bedroom pop you listen to. Like that's a
Yeah,
genre that people listen to, that I listen to even. And I guess Nana Grizzle can even be classified as that somewhat. So I tend to like it. But I
yeah,
feel like this guy was kind of I don't know stuff about history of genres, but I feel like
he kind of pioneered it
yeah,
a
like
little bit.
he's one of the early adopters of it because there's so many songs like this one, and it's just a simple song. Just it sounded like he just recorded it in a room, his
Yeah,
bedroom maybe, like, and just made a nice song about telling somebody named Larry that
Larry.
they're loved, and when you're loved like you are, you got to remember it, and it can help you through some times.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole song. He's just talking about how Larry is loved, and it makes me think that Larry was a dear friend of his in the band, perhaps, and he was going through a rough patch, and was kind of needed some support. And the band's like, you know what, we got you, Larry. Like,
Hell yeah.
whatever you're thinking about doing, we love you, we support you, we're here for you.
And I like his, I don't know, his thing, I guess, theme of using people's names that he's singing about. He does
Yeah,
this in other songs too. So it just makes it feel more personal. Like I talked about earlier, he's the kind of guy that you listen to his songs and you feel like you know him personally, or there's just certain things that he sings about that you're like, this is really like intense.
yeah,
Or
it's based on a real person, and it's not him. Whereas a lot of pop music, when they write a love song, they specifically don't say a name because they want it to relate to more people. That's
yeah,
not what this is about. This is about telling an experience that he had with people that he knows. I mean, granted, he could have also changed their names, but still, it's referring to a specific person,
yeah,
and it adds that level of like intimacy that you were talking about.
yeah. Judging by one of the names on a later song, I kind of feel like these are just people's names. Like, there's a name on a later song that I feel like you can't make up, but
Yeah,
but you know,
maybe.
it's fine. It's I don't know, Larry. If you're out there, know that we love you too, because this song is cool and I like it. At least I love you. I guess I can't speak for Jeremy.
I don't know you, Larry, but I'm a generally loving person, I think. So I'll support you in all of your endeavors as long as you're not a total asshole.
Yeah, there we go. And I mean, if you're friends, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I am not a super positive person,
Me either, man.
but like I feel like this music, Kevin Barnes writes some pretty positive music at
Yeah,
times. Like some of his songs are just genuinely nice songs.
yeah,
And I kind of I'm going to go ahead and like get out my inner edge lord. Like there's there were times in my life where I prided myself on not liking happy music. Like
yeah.
it's not like I went out of my way to hate it, but I kind of just was like, this is my identity. I don't like happy music, and still to this day, I don't really care too
Right.
much for happy music. But it's not like a thing that I go around bragging about. But I mean, I still don't, yeah, care too much for happy music. But then I hear songs like this where I'm like, this is just a nice little
It's
song.
wholesome. It's
Yeah.
sweet, and it makes you feel good a little.
And it makes me think that maybe it's not that I don't like happy music, it's that I don't like,
Fake happy music.
yeah, I like genuine, I like to hear that somebody's like happy, I guess. And that's doesn't get conveyed a lot in poppy happy music. Like the happy music that people make for the radio. Like I'm just gonna use this song as an example, but like Happy by Pharrell.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with that. I thought you were
Yeah,
about to start a flame war here. I'm on board with you. I'm not a fan of that song
no,
or
I was
Pharrell in general, but
I mean, there's some stuff that Pharrell did that I quite enjoy,
oh
but
sure.
in general, if I'm just gonna paint with a broad brush, yeah, I'm with you. I
Yeah,
don't.
happy is a garbage song, and he should feel bad about it.
You should not feel happy.
Don't at me. Or at me, actually. Hey,
Yeah,
plug. We're on Twitter, guys.
yeah,
If you want to, at FBL Podcast, I think.
yeah.
I should know that, but I don't. I think
You
it's at
should.
FBL Podcast.
You totally should, and I
Fucking
also
at
should.
me, and
Yeah,
we'll fight about Pharrell.
yeah. And I mean, if you're gonna start coming at me with all these questions, don't even ask me to explain. Like,
Don't even
I
ask him to explain what he's thinking
yeah,
about.
don't ask me to explain. Just like track number 5, man. Just don't.
Don't ask me to explain.
That's what this track's called.
Yeah, it
Seem.
goes back to a more kind of polished or produced sound, whereas the last one was that kind of bedroom pop that you were
Mhm,
talking about. This one has a bit more mastering or mixing on it.
mhm.
He this I think this is the first. It's probably not the first. This is the first time I noted on this album where he specifically sings certain segments in falsetto, and he
Yeah.
hits that falsetto, which is kind of a staple of his, I think, throughout this album.
Mhm.
And when he does it, it always stands out to me, and it's not in a bad way. Like I don't know. It's again, his voice isn't good. He's not a great singer, but the way he sings complements the music, and you can tell that he's singing from a real place, which makes it good.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, I guess that just goes along with the purity of it all. Like
Right.
the realness, the rawness is that he wanted to make music so bad that he just took what he had, his voice, his ability to play some instruments, and figured out a way to make music that complemented his voice and sang in a way that complemented the music that he made, and it just worked, and it's nice. But
Yeah. And this one again seems to be kind of an uncertain love song kind of thing. It's kind of a theme on this album.
mhm.
It seems like he wants to take things further, but is afraid to say something to the person, and the person that he wants to be with is also kind of not really saying a whole lot of what they're feeling. So it's
Yeah,
probably not going to work out in the long run, but he still kind of wants it to happen.
yeah, definitely. People hiding their feelings seems to be a pretty big theme on a few of the album or a few of the songs on this
Yeah,
album. But I don't know. The chorus is just like it's kind of crazy because he, like I said, there's kind of a dichotomy in different songs because the chorus is just talking about how he'd like to marry all of his close friends so they can live in a big house together and just they're all gonna be together in there. But then just the verses are like the first verse is like, how will I ever love know you enough to love you if you're hiding who you are, just like
right. It's very
talking.
specific.
Yeah, and then it just goes into I just want to get married with all my friends and live in a big house, but it's like don't hide your personality because then how am I ever going to know if I can really be this real with you? Like I got to watch your eyes to and he talks about keeping who are you hiding from or who are you hiding you from across the table with a penny in each eye. And there's something later that makes me think that he's talking specifically like they're hiding his their eyes because I know
Right.
pennies on the eyes is like a thing
I've
relating to
literally never heard that before, but
it's something like whenever somebody dies you're supposed to put like a coin on their eyes
uh,
or something. That's like an old thing, but I think he's talking specifically about hiding their eyes because it just because of reasons in later songs. But
yeah,
he,
because
he
you can't hide your lion eyes.
yeah,
Visuals.
definitely, there we go. That's it. That's probably
Yeah,
where you got
I mean,
inspiration.
eyes are the windows to the soul, right?
Yeah,
Or so it is said. And a lot of times, you can try to read somebody based on their eyes. Their eyes give away more than the words that they're saying.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't know. It's I like that theme because that's just a thing that it seems like I don't. I'm not a social person, but
Yeah, me either.
I guess there's so whenever I enter a social situation, I feel like I tend to be like hyper sensitive to things like that. Like, or at least I used to be. I don't really anymore. But when I was like in school, I feel like my social anxiety kind of showed itself in the way that like I would be really paying attention to like not what people were saying, but like how they
Your
said it to
body
the
language and
yeah
tone and stuff. Yeah,
point where I would get stuff like misconstrued because I really wasn't paying attention to what they were saying. I was paying attention to how they said it, and so I can just see where he's coming from here.
yeah, and I think that's a very like specific theme that comes up later in the other song that we're referring to.
Hmm.
So maybe we can talk about that more when we get there.
Yeah, there we
But
go.
until then, I don't have one for this, but
Oh, come on.
I brought. Okay, okay, we'll try. We'll try. So in this song, don't ask me to explain. He says he wants to get married to all his friends, and he wonders who will be watching his body when he sleeps, because when he's sleeping, he's dreaming, and when he's dreaming of dancing with you.
Yeah, and of course somebody's got to be watching him to make sure he doesn't dance his way out of bed,
That's
so they
true.
can.
I mean, I
Because
don't think he's physically dancing while he's sleeping. He's
I don't
just
know. Some
in dreams he dances with someone. Track number 6. In dreams I dance with you.
you set an unattainable goal, Jeremy,
I did,
of a
and
segue.
now I'm eating my fucking words. This one actually has some interesting instrumentation on it. There's some like sitar.
Yeah,
It also has some interesting, like, I guess it was a synthesizer. Some tones, some beeps. going
Yeah,
in there.
coming in behind it.
Yeah, and there's acoustic guitar towards the end of the track. There's like some water drum stuff going on, which
Yeah,
I'm a fan of.
the end feels a little bit like a shanty almost, but like in the time signature type thing, not necessarily in the music. Like
Yeah,
it's
and I
got a little.
actually really enjoy the melody at that part too. Just the whole ending of the song. I thought was it's a great way to end the song where he says though our bodies are made out of wood.
Yeah,
That melody I
because
like it.
they're dancing, but they're also made out of wood. This song is just a trip, and it's kind of. I think it's kind of bittersweet because what I can get from it. This is the song with the specific person's name. The name is Orenda,
Yeah,
and
what an
that.
horrendous name.
Well, I think this person might have passed away, Jeremy. So
Hey, that's an horrendous fate for this person.
that really is because it seems like this person was just a decent type of person. But I don't know. The song is just kind of reminiscing about being able to. To me, I guess I should preface it with that. To me, this song seems about reminiscing on people you have lost in dreams, being able to do whatever, experience whatever you want to in a dream with the person.
Yeah, it seems like Arenda was like a very like gentle and uplifting and kind of fluffy person, and he kind of like contrasts that and saying like you're so light hearted and fun in this world that is just chaos and hell,
Hmm.
and he kind of misses this person and tries to through his dreams or whatever tries to kind of keep their memory alive and just
Yeah,
keep thinking about them. I don't know how soon this person had died for when he wrote the song, but it seems like he's trying to keep that memory alive.
yeah. And I mean, he paints a pretty vivid picture of, yeah, like you said, just a hellscape, but there's this one soft, pillowy, a snowflake that falls while comets hit the earth, destroying buildings and trees. But you're
Yeah,
so light in the air that you don't disrupt a thing. And talking about dancing in the kitchen while murderers and rapists surround the house, but they don't care because their house is made of feathers. It's like
like that's going to deter them.
no, but it does because they wouldn't dare. They
They
would. They
wouldn't dare.
wouldn't dare.
It's very good imagery. I like the imagery and the contrast of it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just like talking too much about the lyrics, but maybe
I
that's the
mean,
point of this album.
yeah, that's more of my focus too. So I think we're as long as we're talking about something, as long as people have something to listen to, we can just keep it
Yeah,
going.
yeah, and we won't put anybody to sleep. That's for sure. They
Especially
definitely
not if they're in their car, which happens to be a beetle
bug.
bug. Sleeping in the beetle bug. Track
Being
number
in,
7.
man, this is I don't know. This I'm gonna just start with the lyrics because that's what I'm doing tonight. I guess
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
go for
I'm
it.
just gonna go with it. I first off, the title is just it's pretty specific, and I feel like he does a good job of this. Like because he is very specific, but he
Yeah,
paints such a good picture that even if you didn't have that memory or that feeling, you can feel it. Because I never owned or slept in a Beetle ever in my life, and I don't think I've ever ridden in one of them. But I like the thought of it. I can understand his nervousness and his trepidation as he's in one of them. Something is causing him to feel like his heart. He says his heart feels like it's filled with 100 pounds of air. So I don't know. That just kind of makes me think that maybe him and some sort of love interest or a very good friend or somebody is in that car with him, and they're maybe having a very nervous conversation, or they're I don't know feeling a certain way about each other for the first time or something
yeah.
like that.
I think I kind of went in a different direction with this one in that there are a lot of weird metaphors in this track, and
Yeah,
it was kind of hard to piece together. But it kind of seemed like it was a love song, like you're saying. Like he's what I got out of it was that he's sleeping in his car and he's dreaming about somebody he loves to be around. And I think that's why the metaphors are weird, is because dreams are fucking weird sometimes. And it's just a lot of shit happening in his mind. But the one thing that he can focus on in all of that is that he just likes to be around someone.
that would make sense given all the weird metaphors in the last song that was definitely about dreaming. So that makes some good sense considering I can't make there's so many things that I can't make sense of in the song. I just had to go with the feeling. because
Right.
it's just like, I don't know, talking about in each of your eyes I saw it spring, where every mouth wakes up to smile, and you're like, what are they
Yeah.
growing? Are you growing mouths? Like, are you, I mean, I know there's a later song that kind of gives some sort of sense to that line, but
Uh-huh.
you wouldn't know it the first time you listen to this song. You'd be
Yeah.
like, what does that mean? Like a penguin dropping cherries from my mouth, tapping the walnuts into shadows? Like,
Yeah,
what
that makes
is
literally no sense.
what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man, but Tim, I'm gonna call you Tim,
Okay.
just for the purpose of this demonstration. Tim, sometimes I wish you were born a girl.
Why is that? Why is that not Tim? I don't know. I guess
not,
I'm calling you
not
not
Tim. Call me Clevin.
Clevin.
Clevin
Cle-
Barnes.
Clevin? Like Clevin or like Clevin with the L?
Track 8. Tim, I wish you were born a girl.
Man, I feel bad because this song's like, it's kind of intense. Like, at least what I picked up on. Just, he doesn't write it in an intense way, but the subject matter seems to talk. I don't know. Tim, I wish you were born a girl. It's exactly what the title says. He's talking
Yeah.
to a guy named Tim. I'm guessing it's him, but I don't know. The protagonist of this song is talking to a guy named Tim, and he's talking about how he loves Tim and how it's everything about Tim is great. He's never met a girl that he loves more than Tim, to the point that he wishes Tim was a girl because, and this is, I don't know, this is what I picked thought, and I think this is just what it is. I don't know why I'm saying this is what I thought, because it's probably what the song is about. But he has like internalized that two guys can't love each other that way, and
Right.
he's like, ah, I wish I would have met you sooner. And like, there's a line like, I wish I would have met you before the years of, or in school or in work, before the years of the years of losing, confusion, and insecurity. It makes me think he's just throughout his life has just been beaten.
Struggling.
Yeah, like struggling. He's feeling insecure about himself. Obviously, he said that, but he's just learned all this. I don't necessarily want to say like homophobia, but I guess it
Right.
is.
It's just kind of like, especially back in the 90s, like
Yeah,
being gay today is still not a super well received. Granted, it's come a long way, I
yeah,
think, in like the last 10 years, but it's still like it's considered weird, right?
yeah,
Or not normal, at least around here,
yeah,
where if you find out someone's gay, like, oh, that's interesting,
yeah,
when instead of just, oh, okay, whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, so it just seems like he's kind of struggling with those urges, or has been struggling with them, and he's kind of like, well, if you were a girl, we could be perfect. I would cook you dinner. I would do all these things for you, and I would love that. But it's a shame, can't. You're a guy. I'm a
yeah,
guy. We're just destined to not be there. This song, not to demean the lyrics or anything, but going back to the music for this one, is one of the songs that I kind of refer to that has a really offbeat vocal pattern,
yeah,
kind of a thing, where he's just kind of spewing lyrics and kind of stream of consciousness kind
hmm,
of a deal, where he's just kind of talking about the things he likes and not really caring about where it falls on the beat for the most part. It also showcases his voice more, because this is kind of like an acoustic and simple track for the most part. I know there's a solo kind of at the end, but it I feel like this song specifically was the first time where I could get a good read on his vocals and actually notice, okay, he has a lisp a little bit, and
yeah,
it kind of like let me analyze his voice in a more specific way that hasn't happened on the album thus far. I
yeah.
kind of like it though, like especially at this point, and I think this track was kind of a turning point in my mind for like, okay, I think I'm actually like enjoying this a bit more than I thought I would.
Well, that's nice because I like this song. This is, I mean, not necessarily for the music. I do like the music, but this is just one of my more liked songs on this album. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know if I already said this because I don't pay attention to what I'm talking about most of the time. But if I didn't already say this, like, he's not in my top musicians out of this whole list, but I just
Right.
really do. I don't, this album specifically, I just like kind of the subject matter of some of it, the way he sings, the way he talks about some stuff, and I mean, just it's got that nice, simple. music vibe that I like. But
Yeah, and the point of us talking about this album wasn't necessarily because you love this album. It's because it's a step in this
yeah,
journey. So it's getting us to where we want to be.
one thing, not to just completely, I don't know, one thing that I did like, or that I read about this song, and it was a perspective from somebody else that I found online, kind of clued me into something. And I don't know the person online, so I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if they're coming from the same point of view that I'm coming from as a person who has literally no idea about about living and being anything but a straight dude. Like
Yeah,
that's all I've ever known. So I can't like I try to sympathize as best I can. I try to empathize. I don't try to sympathize. I try to empathize as best as I can, and just I don't know. So sometimes whenever I'm talking about stuff like this, I'm like, I don't really know. I'm just talking from. And to make it even worse, like you said, we're from Indiana last episode. Like we're
right.
just like there's not a lot of diversity here at all.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
like
Especially not where like in our like
yeah,
area specifically.
yeah. So
There's not a whole lot.
it's just like I have to live vicariously through songs like this to understand kind of maybe some pain that people go through. And that's
Right.
something that I do like about, I mean, I don't know, this song is, it gets heavy, but like there's other, he sings it in a light way. So it's not like this song is like a crushing weight, but
Right.
there's other songs that I do tend to gravitate towards talking about the same subject matter for that reason that whenever I want to listen to a song that's like, holy shit, these, like certain people have to go through a lot to just to exist, I guess. And
Right.
even then, they don't get left alone. They're just they still have to whatever. But I don't know. Back to my main point. Somebody online said that it could this whole thing could be like he understands that two men can love each other in that way, but he because at the end he just says it's not the same because you're a man and so am I. Which if two guys were together, like we were talking about, people think that's weird in a decent amount of places.
Right.
So even if they did get together as a man trying to be in a relationship, it's not going to be like a woman and a man because everybody's going to treat them differently.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not going to be accepted the same way.
yeah. Man, that was a really long-winded way of me to just say like something that took 30 seconds. But yeah, here we go. That's I mean, I could have driven all the way to Montreal by now. Like,
I mean, I might have. Why would we go to Montreal though? There's nothing good there.
well, I'll give you a little fun fact about Kevin Barnes. Apparently, what he said is he named the band of Montreal because he was just thinking about a woman that broke up with him, and she was of Montreal. So that's why he did it.
Well, that makes sense. Track number 9 is Montreal,
That
and
too.
it is about a breakup. So this one specifically, though, before we're talking about the lyrics, this one I don't know why I got this vibe from this track musically that it sounded like uh, something that you'd hear at like a free concert at like a fair, just kind of like some like nobody's playing up on a stage and people are just kind of like walking past, like yeah, okay,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
No,
It's that vibe for some reason.
I get that, and I think because the music kind of like ebbs and flows with the way he's singing, and
Yeah,
it's like it picks up in some spots and it kind of goes down in some spots, and there's really no kind of rhyme or reason to it other than it kind of just goes along with how he's singing it. But
right.
it's kind of like the song comes in and out, so I can totally just I don't know, it doesn't sound properly mixed, whatever. Like I like the feel of it because this is kind of a sad song,
Yeah,
but it
I really like the dude's falsetto again in this song specifically.
yeah,
He fucking nails the falsetto. Well, I say nails it like he's hitting notes properly or anything. He's not
yeah,
necessarily, but like I don't know, it
it
feels good.
works. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I don't know. It's just a nice little kind of it's probably the saddest that this album gets, I guess. And it's really not like super sad or anything. It's just a nice little talk about the breakup in Montreal. I just mainly like I was trying to figure out a way to bring this up, but I just really like the last lines of I may be here now, but I've never left Montreal. Kind of like
Yeah,
talking about how there's always going to be a part of him that's left there, no matter where he's is at in the world.
yeah. It's kind of like it's haunting him,
Yeah.
and I don't know. You gotta feel it. Like I said, this is kind of one of the sadder songs on the album, or the more real dark. I don't even say dark, but yeah, just kind of like downer songs.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy the song. This is one of my two favorite tracks on the album, just
Oh
because
shit.
I don't know, it's good. And
Yeah.
like towards the end of this album, the drums come in finally, and it just
Yeah.
kind of like lets it end in a punch, which is kind of fun.
There we go. There we go. That's a nice little drum for you.
Yeah, there's not a lot of drums, but when they come in, boy, do I notice. I just can't stop this feeling that
Yeah.
maybe there could have been more.
Yeah. And no, I was okay. I'm just gonna leave it at what you said. I was gonna try to. It's this
don't
feel.
don't try to don't try to tie in the rest of it. That's fine.
It's this feeling, and then in parentheses, Derek's theme.
Yeah, it's
So
Derek's theme, which
Derek's
is
theme.
titled "This Feeling."
Yeah. This song, I like. I like the music. I mean, it's more of the same, I guess,
Hmm.
typical indie pop. But it sounds kind of like they're playing it in the next room, and I just it's nice. It leans into the whole bedroom pop thing. Like I feel like I'm at a house party and there's just like some people in another room playing some music.
Yeah, there's like before the vocals come in this track, there it sounds like there's like a conversation going on that was recorded, but
Hmm.
it's kind of mixed down, and you can't really, or I couldn't really make out what was being said.
I can't either. So you know,
Well,
we're,
you're useless then.
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, it seems like the singer has patched things up with his past love of some sort in this track, and they're going to try to make it work again. And he's not really sure how it's going to work out or if it's going to work out, but he wants to find out, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
At least that's what I got out of it.
definitely. Like I feel like along the same lines, kind of he's excited to see somebody he hasn't seen in a long time, or he's
Right.
the anticipation of them meeting up. But then there's also the doubt of like,
What if
are
we don't like each other?
yeah,
Kind
what
of
if we
thing.
don't like each other? What if it turns out bad? I mean, we're gonna be living together. What if we spend too much time together? Like,
Right.
just all the
Which are very
questions.
real things to worry about. But
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I constantly have, and I've been living with the person that I'm living with. What
your girlfriend,
I was trying to be non-gender specific, and then I was like,
your
wait a
your
second,
your
my
your partner.
my 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 partner. There we go. That's probably the word that I was looking for and just didn't say for some reason. But for like 6 years, and I'm still like, man, what if we're what if we
What if
just wake up?
someday I get tired of this?
What if someday she gets tired of me? I'm annoying as
That
shit.
day is long past, Joey.
That day
She's way past that point.
already annoyed with me. Yeah, there we go.
Anyways, I was watching your eyes, and I couldn't help but notice that I wasn't watching your eyes. We don't have a webcam going or anything.
Wait, that's what we need to do next. That needs to be our next step. Webcams.
I mean, I
Maybe
have one.
actually,
You have one. I
actually,
don't know.
as I was saying that, I was like, does that need to be our next step?
Yeah, I don't
Because
know.
that's
The
probably
next step is we need to get back to doing this shit in person,
yeah. There
but
we go.
that's not going to happen for a while. Until then, I was watching your eyes. It's track
Yeah,
number 11.
and this song, I mean, it's to me, it comes across as like a little more punchy,
Hmm.
but that's I don't know. It's more of the kind of the indie lo-fi. I
Right.
get the Beach Boys vibes. Like, there's not a ton going on musically, and even I don't know. For me, even lyrically, it doesn't have a huge amount to talk about, I guess. But it's for me, it seems like oh wait, this is the song that we're gonna talk about with the eyes
Yeah.
because he was watching your eyes. That's okay. I was like, I feel like there was
There's something
something.
going on here.
There's something. Something's happening. Sorry, everybody. I'm gonna make a disclaimer. I moved a lot of really heavy things today.
He got himself a new place, and he got out of his old place, so
and
he's kind of
yeah,
drained.
the whole time I was watching everybody's eyes to see whenever they said I could just stop and go home. But
Yeah, lyrically, it's I mean, kind of like what we touched on earlier. I agree. It's not necessarily new content for this album, but
mhm,
I don't know. It seems like it's a bit of a bummer, and he feels like he wants to find someone that makes him feel that kind of childish, giddy happiness of falling in love, but nobody is making him feel that way. And
Yeah.
he's trying. I got out of this, maybe not what was intended, but it felt like he was trying so hard to find it that he's reading people's eyes, and kind of like what you were saying that you used to do, maybe looking too far into how somebody says something
Yeah.
or what their body language is to kind of draw conclusions that you want to draw from it, because they're not saying what he wants to hear. So maybe he can kind of find something else that they're doing to make him feel that way.
Yes. That's perfect. That's what I should have said. But instead I was just being a fucking idiot.
Well, springtime is the season to be a fucking idiot.
And not just springtime for me. Spring, summer,
Just
winter, or fall.
all of the seasons are the best seasons to do that. Such track
Springtime
12.
is nice though.
Springtime is the season. I fucking love this track.
Do you? Oh my
I
god.
think this is my favorite track on this album, honestly.
Because
It's got some like really cheesy old jazz organ
yep.
and like a drum machine kind of click going on, and his vocals on this are so not good, but I love it. And I don't know if it's because you've corrupted me, but there's just something about it. I just love this track, and this
Really?
one specifically is kind of what I mentioned earlier, where it feels like he's just kind of freestyling. Like he heard
Yep.
the music track, he had a bunch of lyrics written down, and he's just kind of fucking going with it,
Oh my
because
god.
he's just so off on everything, and I love it.
Yeah, I totally get, like, it just seems like all one take, like you were saying
Yeah,
earlier, like kind of just stream of consciousness. And I mean, I think he's talking about getting out of like a dark place, and springtime is kind of what does that.
yeah, it's a
Or
time of rebirth.
yeah, it's the rebirth. Like the bears are waking up from hibernation and all this whatnot. I'm trying to tie in some. He's got some good metaphors that are
Yeah,
way more
no,
throughout.
so I really like the song lyrically as well, which is why I think it's my favorite. Is that like the first three verses? There are four verses in the song. The
Hmm.
first three, he's comparing how different seasons mean different things to different creatures. So
Hmm.
like when summer comes around, it means something to one animal, but something else to another animal, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Which in itself makes me think that he's using it as a metaphor for how different people are, and how you shouldn't really compare yourself to how someone else is feeling, because you're not the same person.
yeah,
And then in the last verse, he gets a bit more real with it. Instead of comparing different animals and how they react to seasons, he talks about spring specifically being a time of rebirth and a time of joy, even if it's fake, because you kind of just have to let yourself feel good. And I don't know. I really liked it.
well, that's awesome. That is just that is just amazing. And not only because you like the lyrics, but I'm also glad to hear the words. He's saying so bad that I just loved it,
Yeah.
because that bodes very well for
For
the
the next
future.
album.
Not the next album. The next album,
Okay.
not the next album specifically, but there
For
were some.
when we get into like outsider music and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's just that's just awesome, because exactly what I was hoping would happen seems to be happening. It's all
Sweet.
going according to plan.
It's all coming up weird.
Yep. But yeah, I do like this song, and like I don't know, it sounded like he had like some sort of Casio keyboard going on. Like it
Yeah.
was just this
It's very
is
cheesy, and I love it.
extremely like this is one of the songs on the album that I very much think was just written in his bedroom or something. Like he
Hmm.
was just sitting there one night and just like just playing around on a keyboard and was just like, you know what? I have this idea for a song, so I'm gonna do it. And then he just did it.
Yeah,
I would,
I definitely get that feeling.
yeah. And he probably did it at night. And as you know, at night the trees aren't sleeping,
Yeah,
so
trees don't sleep.
he's probably out there singing with the trees.
Yeah, and they'll maybe sing back, except they don't have mouths.
Yeah, they just don't sleep. I mean, they can't talk, Jeremy. They're just trees.
Well, okay, you're right, but fuck you. Track 13. At night, trees aren't sleeping.
They're not. No.
It's got some like, this is another kind of like chopped up song, and there are bits where like it's just like a plucked acoustic kind of vibe that are nice and echoey that I really like, and then it kind of goes into the more like rhythmic and upbeat. kind of bits. I really like the flow of the song
Yeah,
musically. It just kind of feels nice, kind of like
definitely.
a breeze blowing through trees at night.
Yeah, and like with the tempo changes, it whenever it's like I think it's everything is falling apart. Yes, I am. It starts slow and then
Yeah,
speeds up as he's saying that line and talking about all the other stuff. And then the next time it goes back to that line, it goes slow and then speeds up. And I don't know if this is just me not knowing my timelines of like musical trends, but I feel like that tempo change thing became a bigger thing in like the later 2000s in like indie songs. Like I feel like that was a big thing for a while, and I'm not going to credit it all to him, but it's
it
just
sounds like you're crediting it all to him.
I know it does. And as I was saying it, I was like,
Uh,
I think that's just like a musical style that a lot of people like. And I mean, it's not like that didn't happen back in like the 70s or something, but
yeah, it's nice.
it's nice to hear. Yeah, it's for me. It's nice to hear song like albums like this happening before songs that got big around my teenage years.
Right.
Having those elements, and maybe to think that like some of the bands that I liked when I was a teenager listened to this music and got inspired or something, and maybe
For sure.
that's how I came to like this type of music or something.
Yeah, I think that's it's kind of like what's fascinating, and I feel like we've mentioned this at some point on another album, where like you will never hear music in an isolated way where it hasn't been contaminated by every other song that you've ever heard,
Yeah,
because all music is like taking inspiration from other things and twisting it in a creative way to try to make something new and exciting, or maybe not necessarily taking specific inspiration from it, but taking kind of the feelings or some stylings and stuff and using that to inform the creation of something new, kind of a
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's all relative to each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I probably said this exact same sentence the last time that we talked about this, but like I don't know, Alyssa is my partner that I spoke of earlier. She gets on me all the time, or not all the time, but she does get on me.
She just nags at you
Yeah,
constantly. You hate her. She hates you. It's a
but
bad
it's like
relationship.
she'll show me music, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of like this, or that sounds like this," and she's just like, "No, just experience this."
Right.
Just experience the music, please,
I
because
mean,
my life.
if anything, like I've said it several times in the past few weeks alone, that like that's how I mean that's I guess why we talked about this earlier, is that
Mm,
like that's how I see music. That's clearly how you see music, is that
yeah,
like we can't experience something in an isolated way because we're already immersed in so much other music.
yeah, and I mean that's kind of the whole point of what we're doing right now with the Elephant Six and what we did with the Dark Pop. It's like we need to give each other context to show each other these
Right.
big albums
Yeah,
because
because if
music
I
is
just
just
gave you
context.
Blue Lips, probably wouldn't have understood it or liked it as much as if we built up to it in the way
Yeah,
that we did.
definitely. Plus, now I just got some extra music outside of Blue Lips to listen to.
Exactly.
So boom, bam, bam. I got 4 albums to listen to,
Yeah,
and
you didn't get a gift. You got four gifts.
I love getting 4 gifts. That's so much better than one gift.
It is. Now you've got a gift.
Yeah,
Well,
a
you've
gift.
got a gifts.
Yeah, I've got. I mean, 4 kind of looks like an A if you write it weird enough. So
It's true. It's also the track title of 14. You've got a gift.
track 14, you've got a gift.
I This is kind of a letdown track in my opinion. It's we talk about having good strong ending tracks. I don't feel like this is a great ending track. It's not the weakest one that we've probably talked about, but I don't know. I didn't really care for this one too much.
I yeah, I wish this song were. I'm gonna say about 2 minutes shorter because it's. I don't know the way the song is written. It's kind of just. I don't know how to like say it because it's not really like the rest of the music on the album. I think for the first part of the song, it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of just there, and it sounds just kind of bare bones, and
Right.
it's really discordant, and like there's parts of it that just kind of go off in a direction and then come back to the main structure of the song for the first probably minute and 40 something seconds of it,
Yeah.
and then the last part of the song, this song's like 5 minutes, by the way, maybe first 2 minutes of the song, and then like the last like 2.5 3 minutes are just like this kind of nice humming and beachy sound. Like, and
Yeah.
I feel like if he just had that first part where it was kind of just discordant and tangenty, and then switched up to the beachy sound to kind of set us off for maybe 30 seconds or something, that would have had more of a punch than doing the beachy thing for about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just me.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's kind of a lackluster ending track, but
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. We talk so much about strong endings, and this is not one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I very much am a proponent of strong opening, but very much strong ending. Like that's what you're gonna remember an album with. And I mean, this lyric wise, like the song, it's just it's a happy song. Like it's just telling somebody that they've got a gift, and their gift is making other people happy. They just make things better just by existing. It seems,
Yeah,
but
which is kind of similar to When You're Loved Like You Are,
yeah,
but in a less specific way, and it kind of tied into something you said. I don't think it was last week. Maybe that was the week before. In one of the other albums we talked about, you mentioned like when you come across a person that is just so like different in all of the right ways, and they kind of
yeah,
stand out amongst the gray of everyone else, kind of a thing. It kind of gave me the same vibe to this track.
definitely. I remember we were talking about Beautiful Machines parts
That's
1 through
right.
4.
That is right.
And while I very much love that, I see that's okay. Yeah, so this is an ending song talking about that I'm kind of like underwhelmed by. I hate saying underwhelmed because that implies that no, you know what, underwhelmed is
Yeah,
probably the right word.
I think it's apt.
Yeah, but and then the other song, Beautiful Machines Part 1 through 4, I wish was the end of that album, and it wasn't.
Yeah, well, we're not producers. We don't know what we're talking about, man.
Dude, I literally have no clue what I was talking about. What, like, it's just so weird how how we can just sit here and talk about music like as if it means anything.
Yeah,
What
as if we're
what do
some
I know?
authority.
What do I know about music? I don't know shit. All I know, but then I know a lot of stuff because I've
Yeah,
been listening to music for most of my conscious life. Like,
yeah.
but
We know a lot about music and also know nothing about music.
yeah, I don't. I don't even know. I know what the circle of fifths is. I don't know how to use it, and I don't really know what it, if you ask me to write it out, I don't know how it applies to anything else. I just know that it's a circle of
Just a
if you
concept.
if you go like across from it, then it's like okay, you got chords that go together. But
Yeah, it's like a color wheel.
yeah, I feel like that was too tangenty because who the
That
fuck was
was overall this album. I like a handful of tracks a lot, but I still think I like that Beulah album more. I really
yeah.
miss the brass sections because that was like that was a highlight of that Beulah album. It was like, yeah, I fucking love all the trumpets and shit. And we got here, and it's not. So I'm kind of excited that next week we're going to be kind of mashing them together. I hope there's some brass on the next album. I'm
Oh,
very intrigued to see what happens next week. What album are we talking about?
okay. The album is called "In the Aeroplane Over the Sea" by Neutral Milk Hotel,
Oh baby,
and I think we're gonna be in for a nice time if that's what you're wanting to see in next week's album. I'm gonna go
that
ahead.
makes me happy.
I'm gonna go ahead and just let you know. That way you don't have to go into it with any pretense.
Oh, I'm going in with so much pretense. I'm going to hate this album. It's going to be
But
awful.
yeah, it's an album that's very near and dear to me, and I just really like it. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much because we've
Yeah,
been
tune in
building up.
next week.
Yeah, there you go. Tune in next week whenever I'm not so tired, and I will have more to say about an album that I love.
Yeah, and I'm excited because again, I think I said this off the podcast before we started recording tonight. You compared it to my love of Paramore, and that's a huge thing because Paramore has literally changed my life. And
Yeah.
so it, as we kind of mentioned earlier on another episode, like when someone's that passionate about something, it's fun to just talk to them about it, even if you don't feel the same way, because it's kind of a contagious energy. So I'm really excited to listen to this album and talk about it next week.
Yes.
It's gonna be good. I hope.
Man, I'm so excited that I get to listen to this album so much this week.
Hell yeah.
That's how excited I am.
That's fucking awesome. And as a consequence, we're probably gonna have a really long episode next week, so apologies in advance. But fuck, I'm not gonna apologize. This is our
Yeah.
fucking show. We
Yeah.
can talk as long as we want about whatever we want.
Hell yeah, we can. We can go on for another 50 minutes from here, not even discussing an album.
Exactly.
We can do whatever we want.
We can start scatting here and just
Puppy, 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 puppy.
Shuby Taylor, everyone, go look him up.
Yeah, I feel like we've shouted out Shuby Taylor at one point.
Maybe. He's our idol, so this should be titled the Shuby Taylor Podcast.
Hell yeah, his estate will probably sue us, maybe. I don't know.
Well, hey, if they want to get in touch with us to sue us, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Also, Amazon Podcasts is a thing that's happening sometime soon. And I think we're already set up so that when that launches, we'll be there. So fucking find us there.
Yeah, Amazon Podcast. Rock on, Jeff Bezos. Give us a platform.
Give us another platform because we need more, because people aren't listening to this shit, and I'm sure the issue is that we don't have enough platform to stand on, and not that our content sucks.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? It's that we don't have a massive amount of friends that we can just endlessly plug our stuff to.
We don't have a marketing team either. There's no marketing happening.
I have like 2 friends, and neither of them care to listen to the
yeah, that's pretty much how I have a larger friend group, but it's still not a huge friend group, and they're definitely not listening. So,
well,
you guys are listening. If you're listening to this, though, thank you. I love you. We love you long time.
Yeah, definitely. Just let me know that you're listening. Actually, yeah. If I know this is probably the wrong place to put this because literally nobody,
nobody's listening now. This is too far into the episode. Yeah,
we're too far gone. But yeah, if you're listening now, like for real, just like put something somewhere. I know if you're listening on Spotify, I don't think you can do that. Find us somewhere and say something. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything to us. It can just like
today I fed my dog.
Yeah, and just like somehow attach us to whatever you're saying. Like I don't know, on Twitter you can
at people.
That's what it is. I've never used that before. You can
I think you can at people on Facebook and Instagram too. So.
Yeah, there you go. Just do that on some sort of normal post. Like it's fine.
Yeah, or use the hashtag I fed my dog today.
Yeah, there we go.
Because I'll be keeping close eyes on that hashtag on all platforms. No, please tag us, because I will not be monitoring that hashtag.
I will. I don't have anything better to do.
Until next week, guys, stay on our feedback loop.
Bye.